Hey guys, how's it going? I am attorney Michael E. Lyon, and I am an attorney licensed in California and Texas. So I'm not really an Arizona lawyer. I don't know a lot about Arizona law. And I also just sort of got involved in the tail end of this Meyers matter. As you guys probably know, he is a pro per litigant. He's known for being a little out of control in the courtroom as far as not going along with the normal, typical civil decorum or procedural guidelines, but he is pro per. So I believe that the courts do give him leeway under the Balistreri versus Pacifica line of cases because, pro per litigants are generally known to not know the civil and procedural guidelines, technical requirements like a regular lawyer would. And I'm become really impressed with them. And I wanted to, before I started my work day today, I've got my inbox filled up with a bunch of stuff about Lane. And yes, you're right, guys. I was wrong about, well, not wrong. I said I didn't know for sure that there wasn't any information that I could find, but now I have found it. And one of my people, just before, because I don't have a whole lot of time, guys. I just wanted to do a really, really quick show. I was going to get up super early this morning and do one of my lawyer workouts, but unfortunately, I have like a semi-torn calf muscle, so I just couldn't do it, man. And I really wanted to. I really wanted to be able to do that for you guys and take you on a lawyer workout this morning. But last night we had a lot of fun. Towards the end of my video, we covered Wally George and Tom Vu and all some old 1980s stuff. We talked about Airwolf and Jan Michael Vincent. Super fun. But during the show, I was like, look, I think that Lane was totally in the right to be able to record. I think it was no problem because he got prior approval from the head judge. But several people reached out to me and they're like, hey, man, no, that's wrong. There's this 122H rule, and that gives you the right to audio record just by giving advance notice. And I was like, well, I looked and I couldn't find it. And I had one of my law clerks do the alleged law clerk, I guess, right? Do the research for me, and we couldn't find anything. He made phone calls and swore up and down there's no such rule as 122H. So one of you guys, one of Team MPE, said that's wrong. And I was like, well, send me the link. I couldn't find it in my email. Dug through my email and then found it in the spam folder. So really quick, I just want to get into it with you. ARS is a rule, are rules that are promulgated by the Supreme Court of Arizona. And again, I'm not an Arizona attorney. I'm not practicing Arizona law, but I just wanted to give this to you guys because credit's due when credit's due. And it's very rare that you run across a sophisticated pro per litigant who knows what they're doing. So automatically, you just don't believe anything until they prove to you otherwise. Well, in this case, Rule 122, and you scroll all the way down, keep on going, H, personal audio recorders. All you have to do is give notice to the court. A person may use a personal audio recorder during a proceeding, but the person must notify the judge or judge's staff prior to using the device. A person who uses a recorder is not required to submit a request under paragraph C of this rule, but a person who wishes to record or broadcast the audio portion of the proceeding with a device that is not on the person must do so. So if the device is on the person, it appears as though you do not have to get to get prior written permission unless you intend to broadcast with a device that's not on your person. So the use of the personal audio recorder must not be obtrusive, distracting, or otherwise prohibited, and is subject to the prohibitions in paragraph K. And paragraph K just goes into the rules about, you can't use it when the judge is off the bench. You can't use it to, I guess, audio record the jurors or attorney conferences, non-readable documents, definitely no juvenile proceedings. So I just wanted to get that with you guys really quickly. Now, with respect to what happened in court, it's a 12-minute audio recording that we're going to play. And I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can, guys, because I'm supposed to be working right now, but I really wanted to cover this story because there's nothing out there about it. And I'm hoping that by the end of the day, you guys can fill me in on what happened to Lane. But I'm going to play the audio recording. Hold on. And I got this audio recording from, stand by, from, it's called Million Dollar U-Turn Hearing. And it is by the Lane Meyers channel for social change. Hold on one second. I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to drop the link in just 1 second. Hey, what's going on? Let's OTVO. Okay, so it's by the, hold on. It's by the Lane Meyers channel for nonviolent social change. And you can actually, open up the transcript as well. And while I'm playing this, I'm going to be looking at the transcript, which you can kind of, you open it up, see that right there. In fact, maybe what I'll do is okay, that's how we'll do this. That's a good idea. Check it out. We'll play the video and look at the transcript together. But let me give you the backdrop. This appears, so he apparently has multiple cases with judges. From what I've seen, he cuts them off mid-sentence, pisses them off, causes a lot of, consternation with the court, cuts off the parties. Just so you guys know, I am biased. I do financially support Lane's channel and Lane. Even though you may think that he's out of control or whatever, it's refreshing to see a non-attorney out there actually trying to make positive change. And I've, said on multiple occasions, I don't like the style. I think that based upon his intelligence level, that this guy could be a killer. I mean, and I mean that in a positive way. Like, he could really do well in court and probably be one of the better lawyers there are out there. But in law, you have to allow the parties to finish their sentences. And what you do is you take a pad and you write down all the arguments of opposing counsel as they're talking. And then when it's your turn, you address each one. And that enables the court to administratively move quicker. And it also takes away the power of the court to find you in contempt and cause trouble for you. Now, in this particular case, I'm hoping you guys can give me the backstory on what happened, but we're going to listen to the tape together. This is another judge. This isn't the same judge that he had with the law professor. This is another proceeding, and you can hear Lane in there on his audio recording getting brash and being upset. But I'm hoping that by me sharing this with you, you guys can help me understand what happened to Lane. And before I start, I'm going to go along and I'll say hi to everyone in just 1 second. But again, I want to move this quickly, privates. And so I'll start my channel with my regular intro, and then we'll get into it.
To another edition of Ask Michael Eline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
All right, so just real quick, sorry, I dropped it in the wrong. I dropped the wrong link. I dropped a StreamYard link. That's not going to help you guys. So here, I'm dropping the link right now to the audio recording of what happened. Yeah, that's right. Smash that like button, guys. Thanks for supporting my channel. Let's OTVO. Let me just say hi to everyone before we kick it off. And sorry, BZ reached out to me last night about adjusting Nightbot. For now, just don't type in uppercase, because it looks like Nightbot is closing down comments that use uppercase. So, or if you comment too quickly after one comment, which pisses me off, but I didn't have time last night. I was exhausted. Tia Nieblas Abismos, thank you for joining me. Let's OTBO. Thanks again. I'm still trying to wake up. I'm doing my coffee thing. I guess I got nostalgic last night watching all the old 80s infomercials like, Tom Wu, come to my seminar. You want me a lot, Gil? So that kind of just got me. Hey, SW Observer. Yes, good day. Svenska. We got Swedish Observer here. Thanks, Swedish Observer. Here's some Starbucks for you. I'm having some Kami coffee this morning to try to wake up. And America First FFL, Lane should become an executive with my company. I could use his help with management. Hey, that's cool, America First. Look, I'm all about supporting patriots, and I also understand that we all have different personalities. But I'm telling you, I think the guy substantively, he seems like he knows his stuff. And I just think he's got some quirks that we could iron out. Now, other people say he's too old. You know, once you're set in your ways, you can't change. I have a problem with that. I didn't become a lawyer till later in life. And I was one of those guys who was out filming cops back before they had handhelds and getting my camera smashed, getting falsely arrested. And I ultimately became a lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. And I used my talent I learned proper courtroom decorum, and I allowed myself to be mentored by people who were better than me at certain things. Obviously, most lawyers that you meet are not natural law advocates. Most of them are brainwashed in the administrative public school and public college system, you know, to be basically little miniature Marxists. But there are a few of us who are patriots, and I'm one of them. And so I held on to the things that mattered to me most, but I also realized that I had to change in order to make change for people like you. So, Pro Dio et Ecclesia, thanks for joining me. What's the matter, you? Good seeing you. Nightbot, man, you're going to get fired in a minute. Curious George, BZ Watchdog showed, Steve Conkler, thanks guys for all showing up. And what I'm going to do really quick, guys, is we're going to play the audio and listen to it together and try to figure out, see if we can make heads or tails of what happened to Lane Meyers. All right, here we go.
Misstatements and misrepresentations. It's incumbent upon the court to clarify and correct them, and to do so, it's bound to the law. First, this court is a legal entity created by the Arizona State Constitution. The court is authorized by statutory law to preside over criminal cases within its specific limited jurisdiction, which includes this case. The court's inherent authority to administer justice is ultimately derived from the consent of the governed. Accordingly, I preside over this court as a constitutional agent based on the acclamation of citizens who voted in the November 2020 election. I hold this office in public trust. The people have entrusted me with upholding the law, dignity.
The people who voted, like the drug cartels, right? Oh boy, that's right. Hold on, I lost him for a minute. Let me get back over here. All right.
It's incumbent upon the court to clarify and correct them, and to do so, it's bound to the law. First, this court is a legal entity created by the Arizona State Constitution. The court is authorized by statutory law to preside over criminal cases within its specific limited jurisdiction, which includes this case. The court's inherent authority to administer justice is ultimately derived from the consent of the governed. Accordingly, I preside over this court as a constitutional agent based on the acclamation of citizens who voted in the November 2020 election. I hold this office in public trust. The people have entrusted me with upholding the law, dignity, and honor of the Justice Court in Justice Precinct 6 in Pima County, Arizona. I have sworn an oath to do so, and I will continue to fulfill that oath until the end of my term. Therefore, not for my own sake, but for that of the public trust, I will enforce rules of courtroom decorum to maintain the dignity of the legal proceedings within this court's jurisdiction. Among those rules that
Okay, so that's one of the issues is courtroom decorum. That's where the judge does have him. Lane does not abide by the rules of proper courtroom decorum. The courts and the judges have stern and strong authority to control what goes on in their courtroom. That is true. Let's keep going. What the heck? Why isn't it playing for me? I don't know what's going on, guys. I had it going for a minute and then it stopped.
Administer justice is ultimately derived from the consent of the governed. Accordingly, I preside over this court as a constitutional agent based on the acclamation of citizens who voted in the November 2020 election. I hold this office in public trust. The people have entrusted me with upholding the law, dignity, and honor of the Justice Court in Justice Precinct 6 in Pima County, Arizona. I have sworn an oath to do so, and I will continue to fulfill that oath until the end of my term. Therefore, not for my own sake, but for that of the public trust, I will enforce rules of courtroom decorum to maintain the dignity of the legal proceedings within this court's jurisdiction. Among those rules that will be enforced indiscriminately against all parties is that profanity will play no part in a party's presentation of their case.
Yeah, see the profanity thing, that's been a problem.
The court attempted to repeatedly warn the parties against using such language, but decorum was repeatedly breached. Words have meaning. In a court of law, words allow participants to come to terms with each other and their environment. Precise terms define legal relationships and help the court adjudicate cases according to the common law tradition to arrive at truth. While lay individuals may bemoan the specialized development of legal terminology as jargon, it is better described as the language of the law. In this case, the state of Arizona has vowed that if defendant is convicted, it will seek a criminal penalty that, as construed by the Arizona Supreme Court, will deprive defendant of their liberty. Accordingly, defendant is entitled to legal representation from a licensed member of
So
the
he's
Arizona
charging him with a
Bar.
crime in open
The
court.
individual whom the Arizona Supreme Court has determined has an adequate understanding of and ability to communicate.
And he's going to force
language of
counsel
the
on
law.
him.
At the previous hearing, defendant, when told of this right, declined to exercise it, and instead avowed to the court that he intends to proceed pro se. As this term suggests, English is not the only natural language that has contributed to the language of the law. For example, many Latin and American concepts have influenced common law jurisprudence. If the defendant continues to proceed.
So it sounds to me like what the court is saying is that, I guess in this proceeding, he was charged or he was put down with some kind of criminal charges. And it sounds like, and again, I don't know enough about the case yet. I want to find out more. I'm hoping you guys can help me later on today. But what it looks like is that Lane probably brought like a Marsden motion, Marsden, where he's saying, no, I'm going to represent myself. And look, again, I don't know what's going on with the replay, but it looks like every time I press replay, it tries to rewind. But we're at 2:23. We're going to keep on listening.
Proceed pro se in this criminal matter.
Okay, look,
Court
I
will
guess
hold
we got it.
defendant to the same standard as any other party, whether represented by a lawyer or not. When presenting their case, parties and lawyers are not to use profanity in the courtroom. There was a suggestion at the previous hearing that enforcing such rules of decorum violated a person's, quote, First Amendment rights, end quote. This is simply not true. When determining the scope of
Okay, so what he's referencing there is the U.S. Supreme Court has laid down a rule, several rules about how a judge can enforce the language that's used in their court. But typically, my reading of that would be in open verbal speech. I have not found anything that talks about pleadings, that you can't swear in pleadings. But I guess we're just sort of splitting hairs because we've all heard Lane swear in open court. So it sounds like the court is basically saying you've got a history of using profanity and I don't like it. And I'm a judge and I have the right to enforce my rules when you engage in profanity. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys think that's what he's doing.
the law or the constitutional rights of individuals, we must start with the text. The First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America declares that, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, end quote. Of course, this court, in enforcing proper courtroom decorum, is not applying a law that the Congress of the United States of America made. Therefore, invoking the First Amendment in the context of enforcing courtroom decorum is inapplicable. Mr. Meyers, if you could please have a seat. Nor does requiring proper courtroom.
Are we at a Senate judiciary hearing or am I hearing today? Because I have another hearing
Mr.
at
Meyers,
10.
please don't interrupt the court. I'm making a record.
Thank
Nor
you.
does requiring proper courtroom decorum infringe upon a person's freedom of speech. The Arizona Constitution explicitly states that, quote, every person may freely.
So basically what the judge is saying is the First Amendment, as we know it, as understood by Congress, as understood by all of us out in the regular world, doesn't really have the same effect in court. I mean, yeah, it does, but it doesn't. I mean, if the court wants to enforce his authority and say you can't cuss, well, the court has the right to say you can't cuss in my courtroom. And I think that's what he's trying to say in his legalistic way. Let's keep listening.
Speak, write, and publish on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right, end quote. Using profanity in the courtroom during a legal proceeding is an abuse of the right for which the court will hold the person responsible by finding them in direct contempt. The courtroom is not the street corner. In fact, in reviewing the facts of the seminal case Cohen versus California, 403 U.S. 15 from 1971, it's important to note that the defendant, Paul Robert Cohen, who, in an expression of a strongly held opinion on federal conscription, wore a jacket in the courthouse that contained profanity, voluntarily and responsibly took the jacket off when he entered the actual courtroom. The Supreme Court's opinion in Cohen specifically mentions that Mr. Cohen was only cited for wearing the jacket in the public corridors of the courthouse, which the Supreme Court found to be constitutionally protected speech. But even Mr. Cohen recognized that entering the courtroom was different. It was a difference in kind rather than a difference in degree. The court has the authority and the responsibility to ensure respect and decorum in the courtroom. Profane words are not allowed because they distract from the dignity of the legal proceedings, interfere with the communication between the court and the parties, impede the administration of justice, and ultimately waste time. It does not abridge a person's freedom of speech to prohibit their use in the courtroom. Any suggestion to the contrary is not rooted in facts, logic, or the law. Further, as a judicial officer, I have an ethical obligation.
Okay, so just so you guys know, there's been a bunch of back and forth between me and a couple of pro-pers on the channel about contempt. They're saying that you can't hold them in contempt without a hearing. And I'm saying, well, for civil contempt, you definitely can. For criminal contempt, it requires a hearing. Okay. Well, guess what? This is his hearing. That's what I'm gleaning from this. And again, I'm not a Arizona attorney, but it looks like he's having his hearing right now. And you know, give me a bunch of ones if you think he's having a hearing right now about direct contempt, criminal contempt. Give me a bunch of twos if you think I'm totally off base, because I don't have a lot of time today, guys. I just wanted to cover this with the idea that Team MPE and other people out there can get me more information. And also I'm trying to find his link so you can support his channel and his family while he's locked up. I don't know if he's going to, bail's been set. I'm not totally sure about what's going on. So let me just get this thing going again here. Hold on one second, guys.
To ensure that my presiding over these proceedings does not give off even the appearance of impropriety. To that end, there was a material misrepresentation on the record that needs to be corrected. At the previous hearing, the court asked defendant, quote, "So you would not like the court to appoint you any counsel, is that correct?" End quote. To which the defendant replied, quote, "I don't need one of your fake kangaroo attorneys, no," end quote. The court responded, quote, "And so again, Mr. Meyers, if we can maintain decorum in the courtroom," end quote. The record then reflects that the defendant immediately stated the following non sequitur, quote, "Like you said, you'd had 9 years experience when you had 3, my wife actually trained you," end quote. First, I have never said such a statement in court. To the degree that I can infer that defendant is alluding to a statement on the website that indicated to the public that I had worked for the United States District Court for the District of Arizona in 2014, worked for the federal court in the Southern District of California in 2015, back at the federal court here in Tucson in 2016, 17, 18, 19, and into 2022, at which time I resigned my position to stand for a candidate in the election as Justice of the Peace, for which this seat that I have held on and before half of the people of the judicial precinct in 2021, 2022, 2023, and now here in 2024, the accusation that I only have 3 years of judicial experience is patently incorrect. My entire legal career has been spent as an employee of the judiciary, working with judges in chambers. Mr. Meyers, if you could please have a seat.
Why isn't there Zoom right now?
Because
My family to see
this was ordered for an in-person court hearing. So
Why
Mr.
can't my
Meyers,
family attend right now from Michigan?
again, Mr. Meyers, it was ordered for an in-person court hearing. If you could please have a seat. Like I was saying, my entire legal career has been spent as an employee of the judiciary, working with judges in chambers and in the courtroom to administer justice as a judicial law clerk and now as a judicial officer.
So what this judge is saying is my entire life I've been an agent of the administrative state. I've never actually been a lawyer outside of the judicial system. That always scares me. I feel that my experience being a blue collar guy and coming up that way has made me a better attorney and better helped me better understand people. I think anybody, it's me personally, I think anybody who works for the administrative state is automatically suspect, because this is a country born in rebellion where we naturally distrust government. So anybody who's been an agent of the government forever naturally is going to be viewed with distrust by somebody like Mr. Lane. And so, you know, it's just something to think about. I'm not putting the judge down. I'm just saying probably would have been a more effective and a better judge if he had spent time out in private practice among the people. I think that people who have actually had real jobs out in the private sector and not been government employees getting pensions and whatnot always make more effective lawyers, because they understand the effects of their rulings in the laws that people in the administrative state pass and enforce. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. I just think it makes them better. It's just a comment. I'm not trying to, you know, cause any kind of disdain or put the judge down. I don't even know enough about the case other than this appears to be a direct contempt proceeding, a summary direct contempt proceeding. And it appears as though Lane is probably feeling like he was taken by ambush. His family is not allowed to attend. So it's kind of scary probably for him. Let's keep listening.
Next, before we proceed to the second half of the defendant's statement, which is also incorrect, I want to first explain from a decorum standpoint how the rest of the pretrial proceedings are going to play out in this case. The court will continue to fulfill its oath and execute its duty as presiding officer in the courtroom. I will guide and direct the parties. The parties will speak directly to the court. They will not speak to each other. Only one person shall speak at any given time. When the court is speaking, everyone else shall remain quiet. The party shall remain seated unless they seek recognition to speak from the court. If a party wishes to add to the record, they shall silently stand and wait to speak until called upon by the court. Mr. Meyers, your legal warrant is going to issue for your immediate arrest.
Are we having a hearing today or letting you talk all day? Because I got a hearing at 10. I have another hearing at 10. You're wasting my time.
So comments like that, definitely, if I made comments like that as a lawyer in court, I would be disbarred like overnight. It'd be over. And I've made comments before saying, hey, this, don't make outbursts like that in court. It's not engendering yourself. It's not making you a friend of the court. And I would rather be a friend of the court than an enemy. I mean that the so-called black robe taskmaster has very little time. They've got thousands of files typically. And when you make outbursts like that in court, especially someone like apparently this judge who's never been out in the real world, who's always worked for the government, they naturally are going to have a sense like, oh, how dare he? He's offending the state. He's offending the people. He's offending the government. The government is pure and perfect. And he's making these outbursts. I want to get this guy. I want to punish him to show the world that you can't fight the state. You can't fight the government. You can't insult the government. And I am the government, like, Fauci, I am science, same kind of philosophy. Let's keep listening. Hold on. Here we go.
This isn't your world. This is your courtroom. Where's the Zoom? Why can't my family be on Zoom right now? There's no rule that my family can't attend on Zoom. Keep going. Let's go.
Keep interrupting. I'm going to hold you in direct contempt of court.
You don't scare me, bro. Let's do the hearing.
All right, I'm holding you in direct contempt of court this time. If you can take me into custody, I'm going to, in the interest of justice, I'm appointing you as Mr. William Parkin to represent you on your behalf. But I will set this in front of another judge for sentencing on the direct contempt.
All right,
How is this my court hearing? This was a setup. I had a motion to hear today. I know, it's all good. Direct contempt. I'm not taking a point of lawyer either. This is bogus. My family couldn't watch on Zoom, and you're going to sit here and give this speech? I am. I'm not putting my shirt up. Oh, my bad. Why would I get arrested for? This is so crazy. This is such an embarrassment to the court. 9 years. You lied on your website, bro. You've been arrested for years.
So what it sounds like is, and and this is just based on me.
This is a setup, and I knew about it ahead of time.
Hold on a second. It sounds like Lane accused the judge of lying on the website about his experience, like committing misinformation or whatever, and that the judge didn't like it. And I guess Lane is insinuating that that's the reason for the hearing. It does look like he was ambushed. It looks like he was showing up for a different hearing. And as a result, he ended up having a direct contempt hearing instead of the hearing he thought he was showing up for. I don't know. Somebody help me out so I can understand better.
I just planned on speaking to you because if you are recording, you need to stop because you didn't get.
Are you recording?
No,
Why not? Are you arresting someone? Do you have a body camera?
no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
All I said. Well, just don't answer any of this.
Are you working with him?
Sounds like the bailiffs are asking if anyone's recording this. Get away, back away from us, stop trying to intimidate us, that kind of stuff. I'm not sure who's saying it.
Okay. I don't know where he's standing.
So I'm going to try to like move it forward here. Just want somebody to witness what happened. Looks like that's pretty much the end of that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop this one. Okay, so here's my breakdown. It looks like Lane was summoned for a hearing, and I guess it was for a different hearing than he thought. And instead, the judge brought up that you made statements about me, about my background as a judge that I didn't like, coupled with the fact that you don't act proper in court. You cuss, you swear, you cut people off, just like I was telling you guys in my first video that would be a basis for contempt. And many of you said, well, you can't do that. You have to have a separate hearing, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I know that's not true. Pretty much in every jurisdiction, a judge can find you in direct contempt. Now, there will be a sentencing hearing that will probably be held before a different judge. That is true. But I was bested on my terrible research on 122H. You do have the right to audio record just by giving notice without prior permission. That's something that doesn't happen in California and other courts. So that is definitely an exception that seems to be unique, at least in Arizona, maybe a few other states. Again, I don't know everything about every other state. I mean, the law is like a big, building that's a skyscraper that has a bunch of boxes in it, and each one of them represents a little bit of law. In the law that I primarily practice probably is like a thumb in the bottom basement of that tower, which is personal injury, criminal offense, civil rights, that kind of stuff. Just a nail sliver of all the different aspects of law. But I do my best, and if somebody shows me information, I'm all about talking about that information and sharing it, because I want everybody to know what's going on out there. For me, it's less important about being right and more important about doing right and helping you guys learn and understand the law. So I know, Ghost Man, I was going to do the workout this morning, brother. It just didn't work out. I was exhausted, man. I have a torn calf muscle. And so I think part of the reason is this is an old injury from Muay Thai from a long time ago. And walking out in the 20-degree cold weather in the morning, I think I'm not warm enough. I need to be stretching at my house before I go out. And I just think it reignited a small tear. So I'm going to go get checked out for that probably this weekend. But man, it sucks, dude, because I really, really love doing the shows in the morning and get my workout in, because I've been motivating a lot of people, even people that show up at the park who normally are there just to walk their dogs. Now they're kind of copying me, doing push-ups, doing other stuff. So it's, it's nice to see that positive energy rub off on people. Now, just really quickly, I also have another video in tandem, came in tandem with this. Gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. It's already 7:50. I'm supposed to be working right now, guys. But, I wanted to cover this, and I'm going to also, if anybody has Lane's public donations link, because I just don't have time to dig it up right now. Please get it to me and drop it in the chat box there, so we can cover that. And let me just really quickly, I want to shrink this a little so everybody can see it. Now, this video is 42 minutes, and I don't have time to show the whole thing, guys. What I could do is work and just let it stream for you guys. If you guys want me to do that, I can stream this guy's video for you and then cut in about a half hour from now when it's almost over. It's up to you guys. Otherwise, I have to get back to work. But I'm gonna play some of it and try to make heads or tails of it. All right, so just give me 1 second. This is apparently a bystander or somebody who's video recording after the arrest.
Where are they taking him? Is that?
Okay, so Matt says he wants me to stream it. I'll do that, Matt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
I told him you were.
get to work at my day job over here.
I already told him what you was gonna do.
And I'll stream this for you, and then I'll try to pipe in every once in a while. And if you guys want to type in questions in the sidebar, like every 20 minutes or so, I'll pop over and I'll look at it. Just I got to get my day started.
Oh, hey.
as most of you may or may not know, I am a lawyer. And so I have clients and I have cases that I have to work on. And I'm already like an hour late because I streamed this, but I just don't know enough information about Lane. And I wanted to find out what happened. And if you guys have additional information about what happened, was he forced to take on a public defender? Is he going to file a Marsden motion? What's going on with him? And then also, if somebody can drop his link for donations, obviously, whenever somebody gets locked up, you want to make sure their wives and kids have some kind of financial support. It looks like according to him, a lawyer, a law professor, got his wife fired from her job as a clerk for a federal court judge. And so they're probably hurting for money. So it might be helpful for you guys to, support him and his family with, even if it's a $5 donation. I mean, honestly, for me, a $5 or $10 super chat, it helps because that's like that's breakfast for me or something. Doing these shows, it's a labor of love, and it's very time consuming, and it takes away from my ability to practice law and support my family. So although I'm doing this to you as a service and a labor of love, it's always nice to get donations. And I'm sure with Lane being locked up, I'm sure he could appreciate that as well. So let's keep going.
Yeah, they just arrested Lane Meyers. So I got it audio recorded. They didn't do any Zoom. They did an in-person thing, and that's what happened. They took him through the back, so I thought they was going to come out here. The one that arrested him with all right. Yes, kidnapping was oops. Yeah, I was in the court. So yep, he was arrested by Brandon Kimmel, the head of security here, for contempt of court. He had another hearing at 10, so they was just reading out a whole bunch of, warnings about cussing and all that. And then they arrested him. He was going to leave, but they said if he left, he'd be found in a warrant for his arrest. So they arrested him right there. So I'm assuming he's in the back room right now, still at 240 North Stone, Justice Court Building. So that's where he's at. So I'm assuming they're not going to have the hearing. If they do, they're going to do it without him and railroad him. Since there was no Zoom, we won't be able to find out. So until we get the audio, I'll go in and put in a motion for audio. Sorry, guys. It's a phone call. So yeah, so he's probably downstairs in the basement somewhere here.
Now, in California, that video recording, unless he's got prior approval, I'm pretty sure you would not be able to make that video recording in court. So I don't know how it is in Arizona, but somehow or another, he's able to do it. So here it is. It's a public record now all over YouTube.
Yep. So did anybody hear the words that he was arrested for? It wasn't even a cuss word. It was planned. All the people in place to do it. This was set up. All the detectives that arrested him before were here. Brandon Kimmel was standing inside. So, yes, he was leaving. He was just going to leave, and then the judge said there'd be a warrant for his arrest. And then they just arrested him. Yeah, he said this was they did this on purpose. It was an in-person only. So only the people that was here. Yep, that's what I say. It was definitely a setup. There's no doubt about it. That judge was going to do that no matter what. You know, it was mostly personal things about the judge he was talking about. What?
Oh, so that would be back on the first floor?
So,
Once you get off the elevator, and then yeah, the TV screen's correct, sir.
so. So anyway, there's not going to be no court. He had one for 10 o'clock too. So. But they wasn't ever planning on letting him. Not that since he won them last two, they're not going to let him. They're not going to let him talk in court no more. I'm saving this other. So I think he was streaming it. I did get stagnant audio of the whole thing. I went and got permission I notified the judge. Just so you guys know, in Arizona, 122H says you just got to notify the judge in advance. So you could do it the same day, right before you turn your device on. When you're in person, you could just notify them and then that you're going to be audio recording and then go from there. But they didn't start any hearing. So anyway, Richard Tracy, he was here with the rest and he was planning that too. He's the one that talks with Meyers a lot. If you notice, he's the one he calls usually when he's on the line to get numbers or whatever, who it is. But I told him he's a traitor. He came up to me and tried to ask me if I was recording right when I was starting this. I said, shh.
Okay, just real quick, guys. So I'm going back and forth. I'm just trying to get some briefs done here. I've got a question from Brent Schmeiko. I'd like to hear whether this is typical behavior for a judge based on experience. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know enough about this case, but it does seem kind of weird that he brought him into the court. It looks like for a different matter. And then, for lack of a better word, ambushed him with a direct contempt proceeding. But to me, it would not be abnormal behavior for someone who grew up as a government employee, because I do believe people who have spent all their lives working for the state or the government do have a sense of entitlement, that they're better than us and the regular people. And I'm not saying that that's the case for this judge, far be it from me to say that, but it's been my experience that people who grew up just as government employees, having families who work for the government, do tend to think that they're better than the average Americans who actually pay for all the stuff that, by the sweat of their brow. And I've always found it odd and interesting that from my perspective, that when I've made a killing as an entrepreneur, that they're the first ones who want to come after me and say that I'm greedy and that I'm no good and that I'm, I get a nice car or whatever, like I'm this terrible person. And then of course, but when I lose a lot of stuff from, making a bad business decision or the government closing down the economy and destroying our law firm, that their attitude is, well, like, screw them, but no matter what, they always get their pension. They always get their guaranteed money out from us. But when we're entrepreneurs, we don't get a tax break. We don't get any kind of benefit when all the millions that we made got dumped back into our companies to make sure that our employees were covered. Instead, we're the evil, greedy capitalists. And then, oh, well, screw them, once you lose everything. So, and again, I'm not saying that that's the case with this judge, but I'm just saying with government employees generally, especially like administrative, educational, industrial complex, public school teachers, professors, that does seem to be the order of the day. That, if you're successful, you're a greedy, evil person. And if you lose everything, well, that's your problem. Who cares? That's the price you pay for being an evil, greedy capitalist or whatever. So, but as far as the court goes, I'm not really sure, Brent, how that works. I'll try to cut in every now and then. I just have to get a couple of emails out, and then we'll just keep listening, and I'll do my best to try to answer questions. Just drop them in the sidebar, all right?
Shut up, you're a traitor. He's still in the building right now. He was part of the arrest. So Richard Tracy, he does mostly Superior Court, and I see him over here. I don't think he goes much to City Court because I really never seen him, but I've seen him over here a few times when we come in to this court. It's only about a couple blocks away. So anyway, I'm waiting for them to come and tell me I can't record in here. I got some stuff to get back. They took my flashlights. I don't know why you can't have a flashlight in here. I told them my damn cell phone has a flashlight on it because they said that you can blind the security cameras with the flashlight. So that was the reasoning. No, they knew they knew that, and they don't care because I have, look, my bag here, guys, full of body cams. I got every type of camera you can think of here, GoPro, body cams. So that ain't they don't keep me from having cameras in here. So they do in City Court more. They'll try here, but anyway, let's go get my flashlights. Get your items back, come right through this door right here. Right here. There you go, sir. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, so they'll probably take him over to Pima County Jail. So I'm assuming they're not going to release him on OR. The judge can put him for 30 days. on contempt. So I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but it was recorded. Whatever happened, it was audio recording that would matter, because it's what he said is why they, and he didn't really say nothing. He was just reading the riot on him. So yeah. Yep. They're making him America folk hero. They're going to keep arresting him, and that's what happened to me 5 years ago. When you start holding them accountable, and I did that. Remember, this was all when I started. It was just to get Anthony's license back. So, yeah. Yep, I'm live. Yep.
Do you know where?
I just got my flashlights back. They wouldn't let me go in with flashlights, but they let you take your cell phone with a flashlight on it. But you know what? He told me why. It's because you can blind the security cameras with it.
What's let's see, tech, police.
Yeah. Is he live out there?
Yeah,
All right, let
Okay.
me pop back over
All
here.
right. Yeah, he's live out there too.
I wanted to know.
So is everybody go to something happens to me, go to Tucson Toe Tag. He's live outside.
Oh, that's cool, Ghost Man. So I'm back here for a few seconds. I'm just
So-
looking to see if anybody has any questions for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
New Mexico Zoom hearing. So it looks like he's got
But yeah,
cases in other
these
jurisdictions.
courts are really corrupt, Tucson City is a lot worse. You'll get a fair trial more here than you will there. So, but anytime there's someone that they label an auditor, so.
Right. So I'm just looking at comments here. It says here that Lane dissed the judge in the previous hearing. This has the appearance of retaliation rather than due process. Well, his due process is the hearing. And then apparently there will be a sentencing hearing before another judge, which is supposed to sort of eliminate or obviate a little bit of the appearance of impropriety. But yeah, it looks like most of the people in my chat think that this is a retaliatory action by the judge, that the judge doesn't like it, that Lane called out the judge's statements about his history. It looks as though the judge has a lot of stuff online about his job as a government employee, working for a lot of different courts and now becoming a judge, apparently like right after law school, which is pretty impressive. Maybe he was a clerk and then became a judge, but based on the way it sounds like the judge has never had a job in the private sector. Now, just as an aside, oh, cool. So this is a public service, says he's got a hearing today at 1:00. Well, man, somebody please try to record it for me. I got to work, guys. I'm doing this right now. I'm working on files and I'm sort of listening in, but this takes a lot out of me. Hey, good seeing you, brother. I didn't do my workout this morning, Bruce. My calf muscle is torn. And so I slept in. I'm in incredible pain right now, but I'm doing my best to at least cover a little bit about what happened to Lane. Yeah, I should have at least done some push-ups, huh? But yeah, it's at 1:00 p.m. if anybody wants to follow along in courtroom 406 with Judge Cornejo. And this is a public service, says, "Take me, guys. I'd like to know what's going on." It's a really interesting case. But as an aside, what I was getting into are many of our founding fathers wanted Congress and public employees to have regular jobs and not just work for the government. And that's for obvious reasons. In communist countries, you have, lifetime government employees who have never been out in the real world. And, then the people, the peasants, they're the ones who suffer at the yoke of all the laws and regulations and restrictions and edicts of the government employees. And that lends itself towards hostility between the peasants, right, and the ruling class. And that's just how it's always been for thousands of years. And with the great American experiment, our founding fathers recognized that could be problematic. And they wanted to make sure if you're going to be out there passing laws, then you should also have to live under those laws that you pass to restrict people's rights. And I think that that's the right approach, to be honest. I don't think that anybody should be in public service as a career. I think that's a very, very bad thing for our country. And it definitely creates exactly the tension that you're seeing right now. And, but I do think it's a public service for showing up. Yeah, you're right. It is why we've had so many wars. And we find out years later we were lied to, like the Gulf of Tonkin, even about the Japanese and the attack on Pearl Harbor. I mean, they had advance notice, right? We know now that there was at least some advance notice. And we didn't do anything to prepare for the attack. Why? Because, well, the military industrial complex has a lot to gain, in my opinion, and that's why we got sucked into that. But that's another conversation for another day. But I'll keep playing the video, and I'll try to pop in every now and then as I'm working over here. Okay, guys?
Anyone or someone they label an auditor, they go after us. This court's been doing it just as bad as the city court. And that's one of the guys right there. That's why I flipped it around to show you him. Oops, I didn't mean to turn it around this time.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown. Can you stop filming, please?
Shut up.
Can you stop filming,
Will you
please?
shut the fuck up?
Mr. Brown. Number 3, can you stop filming, please?
Will you shut the fuck up?
Post it on the door.
But what's the law?
They took that one sign off.
That's the law. Why does he have to stop recording? What if he wanted to go do business right there?
He knows the rules.
He's not allowed to go.
I know the
You have to
rules,
leave.
and I know I can record.
You
So,
have to leave.
see, they don't like you. See, guys? That guy's gonna go hide in the bathroom. So anyway,
Other days you're allowed to, but just
Yeah.
not today.
yeah, because Lane Meyers is here today, so we can't record when Lane Meyers is here.
How are you? Good, thank you.
But that guy is the court. So the way this reads, guys, they don't go by the law, but 122 or 122.1 is in the courthouse. That's what we're now. We're in the courthouse. As a matter of fact, we're even before the security. So we're on the outside of the security where you could always, this is a public area. We can go into the assessor's office. We can go to the Pima County recorder, as you see right there. So they can't do that here, even though they still do. So this is the, so you don't have to go through security to go to them.
He ran away.
Yeah, I know he did. He's gonna go call the Tucson police. That's what they're doing. That's easy. The Tucson police are watching already. But if they, I will leave under threat of arrest. They threatened to arrest me if I don't stop recording. I will leave. And then, of course, that's all I need. As the Patusai Turner said after I got tased in Leon Valley, he went in there the next day. He went in there the next day and said, "You don't gotta get arrested to get your rights violated." Wish he would have told me that first in Leon Valley, because I got arrested, tased. Of course, we did win that lawsuit, as most of you guys know. Yep. Ranger Horse says, "Thank you, Lord." This is come on. I got a lot more people, new people subscribe to my channel, but everyone that's in here is going to be a moderator. Remember, I do moderators one or two ways. No moderators at all, or everybody's a moderator. That way you can't shut down the troll that's saying stupid stuff. I'll let trolls say all the stuff they want.
You just removed
Oh, oops. Which one?
this one.
Oops. Yep. Trying to make all you guys moderators. Yeah, freedom of speech zone here. You guys can say anything you want, even if it's stupid. I don't care.
Did you see where they took?
Yeah, they took him right out the back door.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, right out the back. They didn't come out the front. So,
I went walking back that direction.
yeah, they took him straight out the back of the judge's chambers to the dungeon. They have back ways to the dungeon that they control. So that's where they bring in the prisoners.
Oh, the back door of the courtroom.
Yes, in the courtroom, right out the back door. Straight
That
out.
was like,
He never came out front.
yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
I'm all pink from adrenaline from talking
Yeah,
to that little.
I was going to record the perk walk all the way down, but they took him straight out the back. And that's why Brandon Kimmel, the one that took him out, he knows. I've been dealing with him for 5 years. He's fair on some things, but he's an order follower. He's going to do everything the judge says. And that judge had it set on, they was going to shut him down no matter what. He was halfway through the long speech about
Soliloquy.
court decorum and blah, blah, blah. And if you use cuss words,
How dare you say kangaroo in my court?
yeah, he was talking about kangaroo. You can't say kangaroo. So I told him he should wear a kangaroo suit. I have a kangaroo suit outside for him. Kangaroo suit with a pig head. I got it outside just for him. I told him he wants to be more respectful, but I said, why? Go in there with a kangaroo suit. You'll be the first one to go to jail in a kangaroo suit. Huh.
That would be funny. Except, well, I guess.
Yeah, you get a kangaroo suit and you put nothing on underneath it. Make them let you wear it. Right? That's how you do it. I don't know how to be a mod. Symbol B says, well, you're going to learn. All you do is don't cancel anybody. Let everybody speak. That's how we find out who the trolls are. Right? And I'm trying to get y'all. There's usually.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of popping my head in every couple minutes, guys. Group 2FA, thanks for joining me, brother. Let's OTVO. Yeah, man, if you guys can keep me posted on what's going to happen at this hearing, but based on what I'm hearing, I'm over here working on files, kind of listening in. It sounds like they took him out the back door. They took Lane out the back door. It sounds like what happened was he showed up for a hearing and then ended up having a direct contempt hearing because the judge is upset about statements that Lane made about him and about his background as a judge, as well as popping off in court. Like I told you guys was going to end up happening. You keep on popping off to the judge, cutting parties off, telling the court that it's a kangaroo court. Yeah, that you're going to be held in contempt. Of course that's going to happen. So yeah, take the note, Nightbot. Yeah, I'll figure out a way to fix Nightbot too, guys. I'm going to have BZ help me out on that. And then KVP, he mutes the camera by mistake for a good 5 to 7 minutes. Well, that kind of sucks. Now, Floyd says that he's obnoxious and he annoys the courts. The system, he says, is a joke and he exemplifies it. He should write the laws if those who uphold them refuse to adhere to them. Okay. Well, I appreciate your comments. I am one of these guys who thinks that we do have to have a certain amount of respect in courtroom decorum. Otherwise, the parties won't take the system seriously when they're trying to resolve disputes. And that's really what courts are all about, is resolving disputes so you don't get into the whole common law, pre-common law methodology of a pound of flesh. Because if we don't have the courts to resolve disputes, people are going to be coming after each other like the old Hatfields and McCoy's days. But, I've always known that Arizona has been more of the frontier justice, as far as the judges being more adherent to understanding the local populace and the patriotic people. I mean, it's an open carry, I think, shell issue state. So it's always shocking to see career government bureaucrats getting in positions of power in a situation like that and seeing how they rule as opposed to a judge who may have come up, maybe had regular jobs, maybe wasn't working for the government all their life. You can see the way they rule so much differently. And that's why I was saying earlier, it's, in my opinion, that's why the founding fathers wanted Congress to adjourn for 6 months out of every year, right? So they could come back to their regular jobs. They never expected someone to get into Congress like a mafioso, like a Pelosi, right? Come in with a couple 100,000 in the bank and you get out a billionaire. That was not the intention of our founding fathers. The political class in many ways has become the ruling class, very similar to how it was under King George, the system that we rebelled against. And many would say this is an example of that. Let's keep watching. I'm going to try to keep working, and I'll try to answer questions as I get time to pop back over to the video.
When I go live, 95 point or higher is moderators already. So I got a whole lot of people in here that never been in here before. Because I can't make you a moderator unless you comment, no matter what you say.
Oh, there's the guy.
Yep, that's the guy that arrested him.
Oh, pussy.
That's him. That's Brandon Kimmel.
Oh, is that the same guy? No, because that was never.
He's the head of this. So he's the one that dealt right in these chairs right here. 5 years ago, I dealt with him, me, Slinky, and him. He came out and tried to tell us that we couldn't record, and we explained to him we could. But I've never ever had a problem here. Them trying to stop me, but they never stopped me from recording in this courthouse. They never even arrested me. So
Mark, I need to leave.
here he is.
Lopez is out.
Okay, so hold on. I don't hear any noise. So this is, I guess somebody said he gets cut off for a minute. Let me see if we can get the sound back. Poor guy's lost his audio.
No, yeah, I don't do, I'm not monetized at all. So anyway, Brandon Kimmel, guys, call to 240 North Stone, County Public Service Building. And Teapot, his name is, hey, Charo, you in here? O'Brien, it's Irish. The little Teapot, little piece of shit, short ass. And he did that just because you called him a liar. That's all. And he put his hands on you just for that.
Yeah.
You didn't put your hands on him or nothing.
Not at all. I just swung away from him, like reverse a bunch of times, like 3
Yeah,
times.
why he had his hands on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm all wrung on my arm.
Are you still mute?
No, I'm off. So anyway, guys, call down there and somebody in the chat, if you know that guy's name, we call him Teapot. Let's see. Yeah, he shoved her. And I tried to make a complaint with his boss, but he didn't care about that. He cares about trespassing people for recording, but no, I don't have a static going. But these guys are live, and are you static?
I'm live.
Good. Everybody's
That's
live,
what
so
they do.
I got
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of that up there before
Yeah.
I came down.
so everybody's live. But I got body cams to go stagnant with. I was going stagnant with my audio recording. So
I don't know what they did, because I was talking to that little bitch in the blue shirt.
Hey, was you in the courtroom the whole time, weren't you?
yes.
Is it over? It's over now, right?
Well, they stopped it because he's not going to be there, and then I had to either go live and let everybody know, or stay there and audio record. But they basically was going to stop it. All the detectives that arrested him last time were in there. That one lady that arrested him, just right here on the stone, and they wouldn't give their. Hopefully, they come out this front door. They'll probably go out the back door, and with all these little
Let's
coming.
move down to the fucking.
Yeah, because they're just right there on.
Yeah, let's move down to that building.
Okay.
They think we left, but.
Yeah, we can. The one that where them detectives are from.
We'll just stand right out front till they get there.
But yeah, they don't like people winning in court. If you start winning in court pro se, they're going to arrest you here. And that's about all there is to it. No matter what you say, that judge was baiting him. He was reading this long bullshit just to bait Lane. He listened to it for quite a while, 10 minutes or so. And then he just said, I'm going to go into my next hearing because he had one at 10 o'clock. So they made him miss both hearings. And Brandon Williams is responsible for making me miss it.
My thumb is jammed from that dude.
Take you over to the VA
Go get
hospital.
x-rayed.
Yep.
For my abrasions on my arm. You can see it better because my skin's so dry. I could have punched that guy.
Everyone needs to start sending Donald Trump as soon as he becomes president. He's already the
I never
president, but he
realized how much
starts
power I
in
had until
January
I've
sending
never
him
been
letters
like
of
a
what's
civil like
going.
that before in my whole life, really, except for, weak crap from my sister. I feel like I felt
Problem
like,
is Donald Trump is so pro cops, it's going to be worse. He is pro cop.
yes.
First of all, man's not supposed to touch a female ever.
Well, I called him a liar,
Man is not supposed
I
to.
shouldn't have made him
A
beat
male
me.
officer is not allowed to touch a female, but to handcuff her.
Yeah, he wanted a handcuff for me, and he told me to put my hands behind my back, and I said, why?
But
Then
then he
got
put,
away from me.
These little piece of shit security guards.
He
So
grabbed me
he
3 times
didn't
in
trespass
there,
you,
and
did
I
he?
got away from him.
Yeah. And he didn't trespass you, did
He
he?
tried to put me in handcuffs.
But he didn't trespass you. He didn't say you're trespassed.
He said, go, go, go a bunch of times, and I said,
Yeah.
why a bunch of times?
he
Because I
didn't
called
say
you a
anything about
liar.
trespass.
Because I called you a liar. That's what I kept saying to him. Pussy.
And see, I talk shit to him. If he would have came towards me like that, it'd have been the whole. I'd have laid him on his ass.
I felt
Yeah.
that
And that's-
power inside
and that's the
of me, I really
problem,
did, 'cause
like
he was
in
a little
Texas-
pipsqueak. I came to mind.
Yeah,
In a few other states-
I'm not from here.
Yeah.
In the courtroom just now, I told him straight up. The judge is telling me to be quiet. I said, no, I'm gonna speak my fucking mind.
Yep. That's what Lane and Myers got arrested for. He said
I
the
have
same
every-
thing.
I have every right to speak my mind.
Yeah.
Legally speak my mind.
Not in Arizona. Not
He
here.
said, sir, I don't even know what's going on. Let me get to the point. And I said, okay, now you're talking at my point. But you're not going to tell me to be quiet and shut up. No, that's not how you talk. You talk to me like I'm a fucking man. I'm a grown ass.
They're not men. So they don't understand that concept.
All right, guys. So I have to get ready for a court call. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this link for you guys in the hold on one second. Let me find this where I can drop this. All right. I'm going to drop this link if you guys want to keep watching it. So what I'd like is if you guys can give me an update about what's going on, and I'll try to cover the story. But as I suspected, the courts were going to find this guy in contempt. I mean, Lane definitely goes outside the traditional scope of how a court would want to have things handled in their court. Cuts off the judges, cuts off the parties, swears, does things that traditionally just are not allowed in courts. And yeah, there could be some retaliatory stuff. I mean, judges are humans, but it's another example of why I tell you guys, if you want to win your case and stay out of jail, there's a way to do it. And somebody like Lane, he's got such great knowledge. I think substantively, he's right on more things than he's wrong. And I've learned from him, from watching him and listening to some of the arguments that he's made that are absolutely great arguments. I don't know enough about his interaction with this particular judge to know whether or not this is a total retaliatory type of a situation. It may very well be, but I always try not to dismiss anything. That's why I was very careful to say, like with the 122H thing, look, I don't see any evidence of this 122H existing or being a law. I've done my research and couldn't find anything. Can you guys help me? And then somebody did. And so, yes, that there is a 122H that says you are allowed to make audio recordings in Arizona court as long as you give prior notice without judicial approval, which is pretty impressive to me that Lane was able to figure that out, being someone who's not even a lawyer. That is impressive. And I think that he bested that law professor as well. I think that he bested her. I think that that's a case that he should have won. I don't know what the outcome was on that case, but it looks like there's a bunch of them. So hopefully we'll figure out what's going on. I'm just going to look in the sidebar before I close out, guys, and just see if anybody has any any questions that I can answer while I'm here. So yeah, so Lane Meyers was arrested for contempt yesterday. Bruce says, yeah, you got to show respect for the court no matter what. That's true. You got to. And Power to the People says, you and attorney have learned from Lane. What? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Look, I was a pro per for years before I became a lawyer and doing the same kind of stuff that Lane was doing, although I was more respectful to the courts because I'd seen so many of my friends get locked up for not being respectful. I realized that's part of the game you got to play. But absolutely. And we learn from each other every day. I'm sure judges learn from litigants. Most trial attorneys know way more than judges about procedure and substantive law. Trust me on that. Most of the judges are going to be looking at the Rudder Group, the practice guides, in order to get their information, especially judges who have never practiced, like just administrative drones. They don't really usually know the law like a trial lawyer would. So they'll use the Rudder Group and all that stuff to try to learn as they go or learn from the parties, or when they go to their judge meetings where they all get together and hang out and drink wine and talk about their jobs as judges, do judge stuff, right? Look, by the way, guys, if you pro pers really want to learn about the system and learn how to do better at it, I recommend that you join a local Inns of Court. As a law student, for example, get on a law study program like I did and ask to be invited into the Inns of Court and learn how to interact with judges and lawyers. I had several judges who were my mentors when I was at the Inns of Court. And the Inns of Court is an ancient system. The original law schools weren't law schools. People were taught at the Inns of Court. And the very first closest Inns of Court you could have in our American common law, English common law tradition was the Temple Inn outside the gates of London. That chain going across the Temple Inn, the Temple Castle, was called the Bar, and that's what many people believe passing the bar originally comes from. And that castle was run by the Knights Templar. So the King of England kicked out all the lawyers, and they sought shelter within the Knights Templars castle. And you became a lawyer very similarly to the way you would become a mason. You would study you'd be like a squire studying under a knight. And that's how I became a lawyer, studying under judges and lawyers and learning how to become a lawyer by getting the direct teaching, going to court. I tried 3 cases as a certified law student before I was even a lawyer on that program. And I find that it has really helped me a lot, especially when being able to understand and deal with normal people who aren't people who are part of the administrative, educational, industrial complex, just regular people. So it's really helped me a lot. So it's something that I would recommend you do if you want to learn more about the system and learn how to operate within that system and then get results that are positive for your case as opposed to just getting locked up. I recommend the Inns of Court would be a really, really great place to start. And also to learn about the law office study programs that are available. I don't know that Arizona has a law office study program. In my book, I cover the different states that, at least from when I wrote the book, that have law office study programs where you don't need an undergrad or any kind of degree, where you learn by doing. But there are very few of those, unfortunately, because that is the traditional way. I mean, John Jay didn't go to law school. Our founding fathers who were lawyers didn't go to law schools. They didn't have law schools. So that's something to think about. Anytime you have a government run or curriculum or government run school, in my opinion, that lends itself towards corruption and the destruction of individual rights and freedoms. Remember, the government's supposed to be bound by the chains of the Constitution. We, the people, aren't supposed to be bound by the chains of government. And once you have some bureaucrat controlling the curriculum, you'll have basically government control. And that's what we don't want in America. We want less government is more freedom. That's what makes America a special place. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. I am going to have to close this out. I just want to see if there's any other questions. But oven for one, we can get into that in another show. Let me see here. Law is law. That's right, Brett. Good seeing you, Brett. Haven't seen you in a while. Salty Buckeye. Good seeing you. Paul Walker. Relay and Meyers. By the way, if anybody wants to drop his link, go ahead and drop it in there. I know he's got the donations link If you guys want to support him, support his family. What it looks like is the court forced him to take a government tax-funded lawyer. So he'll probably have to file what we call a Marsden motion. I think it's Marsden, to try to be able to represent himself. It looks like the court is trying to have him declared as a vexatious litigant and incompetent to be able to represent himself, so he can't. So he'll be forced to have a government lawyer. Mark my words, that's where I see this is heading. And I saw that happen a lot with the Freemen of Montana and other patriotic groups back from the 80s and 90s. So it just looks like history is repeating itself. But anyways, guys, I do have to go. I wish that I could keep on covering this for you, but I have a court call and I don't want to tie up my computer. But Brett, Sky King, Matt Johnson, thank you guys for showing up. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save. Super chats and all that stuff is appreciated. Anything you can do to support my channel, save it for later listening. I've got a lot of really good videos. I've got some lawyer workout videos. Most of my videos are lives. So if you want to look at my content, look at the lives. I've got a lot of good stuff out there. I try to cover a lot of really cool stuff that really matters to people like us about government accountability and making America a freer place for regular people and taking away power from the bureaucrat and administrative state class and giving it back to we the people, to where power truly belongs. So again, make sure to like and subscribe, make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Semper Fi, do or die.